The difference between those who fulfill their assignment and those who don't comes down to one thing. The main difference between those who dive for their most audacious God-sized dreams and those who will barely come out of their comfort zones and do anything outside of their safety nets. It comes down to one thing. The main difference between those who are willing to live their lives to shift culture, to shape humanity, to serve miracles, and those who choose to live safe, predictable lives, man, it comes down to one thing. And that one thing is this is what do you believe? Write that down. It comes down to that one simple phrase. What do you believe? Um, and let me define this word believe for us this morning because I want us to all be on an even playing field where all hearts and minds are rallying around the right definition of this word believe. Here's the definition that I want you to write down: believe, to accept something as fact, period. Believe, to accept something as fact, right? Not as opinion, not as speculation, but as fact, right? Then truth is what you believe ultimately becomes the container for what's possible in your life. Somebody needs to write that down. What you believe, not what I can believe for you, not what your mom or your husband or your wife can believe for you. What you believe ultimately becomes the container for what's possible in your own life, right? In other words, what you believe will determine how far you can go and how much God can do through you. And some of you have been praying for more of this and more of that when the truth is that the glass ceiling that's in front of you has everything to do with what you believe is possible. My question for you today is this is do you really believe that your dream is possible? Like I know you talk about it. I know you're on the Miracle Monday Power Coach Call. You're in the Dream Diver community. You listen to the podcast. You might have typed in Dream Diver on YouTube. You might have did all those different things. But at the end of the day, the question is do you really believe that your dream, not mine, not hers, not his, not the guy on TV, not the lady you saw on TV, do you believe that your dream is possible? And I know that sounds like such an elementary question, but the truth is we have people who go to school every day and they don't believe that education is valuable. We have people who sit in churches every Sunday and they don't truly they listen, but they don't truly believe enough to use the principles that they're being taught. So to ask you such a crazy Barney style plain question is not to belittle you or insult your intelligence, but um, has anybody ever asked you, do you really believe in the dream that you say you have? My question for you this morning is, do you believe that God picked the right person when he chose you? Oh, I'm coming to your street this morning, right? Do you believe that God picked the right person when he chose you? You can believe in the dream all day, but not believe that you're the right person for the dream. You can believe it's possible, believe that God might have chosen the wrong vessel to make this happen. Do you believe that if he called you to an audacious dream, that he will make a way even when you can't see one? Do you believe that if he called you to this audacious assignment, excuse me, that he will make a way even when you can't see it in front of you? Do you believe that God will eventually surround you with a dream team and surround you with strategic partnerships that will come into your life to add gasoline to your fire? And some of you believe, I believe in the dream, I believe I'm the right person, but I just don't believe that anybody's going to come help me. Like, what do you believe? Because the measure of what is possible in your life has everything to do with what you believe in your heart is possible. Today, in this first series under the title Believe, I want to talk to you about the word conviction. Write that down. The word conviction. Somebody put that in the chat for me. The word conviction. That word, by definition, means a strong belief, not a normal belief, but a strong belief. I know you're saying, Ira, coach, like, what's the difference between normal belief and strong belief? Write these down. Conviction says that there's nothing or anyone or anybody anywhere on this planet that can say anything to you or do anything to you to convince you that what you're about to do is not possible. That's what conviction says. That's the difference between normal belief and strong belief. Normal belief can be persuaded. Conviction means that you are embedded in cement. Your belief is has been rooted and grounded, and it's unmovable, unshakable. Like nobody can come up and pull up your foundation. That's the difference between normal belief and strong belief. Conviction, right? Conviction says, I will keep working, I will keep believing, I will keep diving, even when there are no physical signs of results. That's what conviction is, right? And some of us, we have this normal belief, or we have this baby belief, but we don't have conviction, right? Conviction says, when I walk into a room and I begin to speak about what I've been called to do, what I will do, what I am doing, right? Everybody in the room, whether I have tangible proof or not, can feel and see and sense and understand that whatever is impossible today, it will be possible through the person that's sharing the vision and the dream in the room. Come on, there's a difference between normal belief and conviction. What kind of conviction do you have around your assignment this morning? Are you convinced that the impossible is possible as long as you stick with the God who gave you the dream, and as long as you keep executing the instructions that he gave you? Conviction says that it doesn't matter what obstacles or chaos I see with my natural eyes. I will continue to dive headfirst towards what I see in my heart and in my spirit. And some of you think, when I say, dream diving and diving headfirst into the dream so you can keep your eyes on the target. I'm not talking about your natural eye. I'm talking about what you see in your head and in your heart and in your spirit. That's what I want you to be aiming for with your life. Like conviction says, it doesn't matter what I'm currently experiencing in my life. I know what he said. I know what I saw. I know what I see. And that is what I'm aiming for with my life. Conviction says, even though I am surrounded on all sides by fire and by flames, by rubble, by chaos, by turmoil, I understand that there is a way out and into and up into what I was called to do. There's a difference between normal belief and conviction. Conviction says, I refuse to stay in relationships and stay in circles that don't feed my faith and that don't feed my dream. Oh, that's conviction when you begin to take inventory of who is in your inner circle and who you give access to your ears and who you give access to your heart and who you give access to your phone number and whose DMs you respond to and whose emails you respond to and whose Facebooks you're watching. Conviction says, I refuse to stay in relationships and circles that don't feed my faith and that don't feed my dream. I wonder this morning, do you have conviction, or do you have just a pint-sized belief in what is possible and what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life? Conviction says, no matter how long it takes, I know for a fact that it is going to happen, period. Conviction says, no matter how long it takes, I know for a fact that it is going to happen, period. The truth is that there is no timetable. There is no timetable. Uh, that somebody can give you as it relates to your assignment on the earth. Like there's no 1 year, there's no 10 years, there's no 20 years. Conviction says no matter how long I have to stay where I am and continue to do what I'm doing, no matter how little it may look, no matter how big it may get, no matter who comes, who goes, what happens, I am convinced that my assignment is not theory, it's not lofty, but it is fact. My dream is fact. I need somebody to write that down. My dream is fact. There's nothing fiction about it. There's nothing impossible about it. Let me tell you something about impossible. Impossible is just a challenge waiting for somebody who has possibility thinking to step into the arena and to wage war on what seems to be impossible. Can I tell you today that impossible is a husband or wife that's been, excuse me, it is a eligible bachelor that has been looking for a mate for a long, long time. Are you the one who will get married to impossible to make possible things happen? I don't know about you, but when I walk into a room, I'm looking for impossible. Like I need you to get that in your heart today. If you're a dream diver, you should be walking into every area in your life looking for what seems like it can never be done and inserting yourself in the area of your assignment into that impossible challenge. Like there are two types of people in the world, those who see reality and those who see possibility. Can I tell you today that if you're on this call, it's because you see what most people don't see. You think how most people don't think. You operate differently than what most people operate. The level of 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 creativity, the level of excellence, the level of execution and discipline, and the level of vision that you operate is not like the average person. Am I telling you today that you are better than anybody else? Absolutely not. But I am telling you that you are cut from a different cloth. I'm telling you today that you are a different species. You're not just a dreamer, you are a dream diver. You're not just someone who seeks to be employed or seeks to be a business owner. You're someone who seeks to change, to create, to do, and to build what has not been built. Not for you, but it's so that you can shift culture, shape humanity, and serve miracles with your life. And I tell you today that what you believe becomes the container for what is possible in your life. There is a difference between normal belief and conviction. And as a dream diver on this call this morning, if you have a dream to build something that's bigger than you, the only way you're going to get to the place that you see in your heart and in your head and your spirit is to develop a mindset that always revolve around conviction. Like there's a difference between somebody who is trying to communicate a dream, a vision, and they are barely convinced themselves. They have barely convinced themselves that this thing is fact. And there's a difference between somebody who can walk into a room and command all eyes, ears, and minds to be present in the vision. That's conviction. Can I tell you today that if you want to see what you have in your heart become real, you must believe and then move into a state of conviction. You have to be so convinced that everybody else around you becomes convinced that this is just as real as it is now that it will be in the future. Have you ever ran into somebody who's just convinced that their favorite entertainer is the best in the world? Like there's nothing you could say to convince them that Prince wasn't the greatest, right? Or that Taylor Swift isn't the greatest of all time. Like, have you ever like you can show them the stats, you can show them the record sales and the Billboard charts, but they are so convinced and they will argue with you with conviction, even when they know they're wrong. They will argue with you with conviction. Why? Because they believe that what they're saying is fact. Period. My question for you this morning is: do you believe that your dream is fact? There's no kinda, like, buts, or maybes associated. Do you believe that what you have been called to do is fact? Do you believe that all you're actually doing is waiting for what you've seen in your heart to come out to be made tangible in your life? And some of you, um, the thing that will keep you where you are is because your dream is still a fairy tale to you. It's still a fairy tale to you. And you will meander in this period of isolation, of wandering around in circles until you become convinced that your dream is worth diving for. The difference between dreamers and dream divers is dream divers go to 13,000 feet, and we have to make a decision to move from just knowing about what we were called to do and having a great plan for it. And then we have to move into action and execution. 13,000 feet is where dreams go to die. That's where most people get up to that altitude and the door opens, Mary, and they see the wind and they feel the wind and they see the clouds and they see the big blue sky, and knees start shaking and they start peeing on themselves a little bit, and then they say, you know what, the dreams sounded good, but I don't believe that it's fact enough for me to go all in. The difference between somebody who has normal belief and somebody who has conviction is they are willing to put their life where their mouth has been. They're willing to put their life where their mouth has been. They've been talking about the dream. They've been talking about what they're going to do. They've been posting about what they're going to do. But when it's time to move from preparation to action, they're willing to move into the next step, burning the boats behind them, going all in, giving it everything that they have. This is the difference between fact and fairy tale. It's the difference between normal belief and conviction. Is you don't have to be convinced that this is your moment, this is your time, this is your season, that this is your assignment, this is your role, this is what you were built for, this is what you were born for, this is what you were created and crafted for. Conviction says that if nobody else believes what I believe, I'm still going to go all in. And they're going to have to catch up to the revelation of what I was saying somewhere down the line, but it will not stop me, it will not pause me, it will not put me in a seatbelt, and I will not allow other people's opinion to put me in a jail. Conviction says, even if I have to go alone, I'm willing to go. For those of you who are faith based or believers on the call, uh, Jesus had to do it even when nobody else believed, even when they were looking for him in a different form, in a different format. He still had to move when even when people didn't believe, even when his inner circle fell asleep on him while he was trying to get some prayer in for the assignment, even when people begin to take a nap on you and sleep on your abilities to be who you were called to be, even when they don't understand why you have to do it the way that you have been called to do it. You have to have a level of conviction that says, I will do it exactly how I was told to do it. I'm not going to take a shortcut. I'm not going to try to find a roundabout. I'm not going to try to ease my way into something that's not for me. I'm here to do it exactly how I was called to do it. And if that means I can't do it with $100 and that means I need 100 million, you have to be so convicted that you're not willing to settle, back down, or bend or break to anybody's opinions, good ideas, or thoughts about what it is that you have been called to do. You have to be so convinced and so convicted that this is how you're going to do it. And I'd rather die trying than live settling for something that's beneath what I've been called to do. Can I tell you this morning that what you believe ultimately becomes a container for what's possible? I want you to write down 3 I will statements. I want you to write down 3 I will statements. And these are fact. Let me give you some examples. I will pursue and achieve my assignment no matter what it costs. Period. Here's another one. I will never, ever settle for anything less than what I know my dream is supposed to be. Here's another one. I will be the greatest example of purpose and dreams that the world has ever seen. Here's another one. I will share my faith on every platform that I'm given so that the world will see him through me, not me. Right? I'm just giving you some of my personal ones, right? I want you to email me your three I wills. These are non negotiables as it relates to your purpose and your dreams. I will reach 10,000 people in order to do, like, I want your I wills in my email box this week. Your non negotiables. Like, no matter who comes in, who leaves, who stays, who goes, these will become the commandments for your life. I will wake up every day and pursue what I was created to do with everything that's in me. What are your I wills? I need you, I need three I will statements from you this week. Because what you are willing to negotiate in your life has everything to do with the altitude that God can take you to. There's certain things in your life that are non negotiable. There's certain things in your life that are non-negotiable. Am I telling you not to allow wise and smart people around you and allow them to share insight with you that could shape what you've been called to do? Absolutely not. You know, I'm a firm believer in building a dream team and surrounding yourself with people who can help you get to levels that you could never get to on your own. What I'm telling you is that there's a certain foundation of your dream that should never be shifted. That you should never be willing to sell out for. What are your I will statements? These are your conviction statements that will solidify and cement your belief.